Let's get it done. Hey, so I need to catch you up where I can't remember when I last talked to camera and where we left off. It's been really intense. So we're here in our new temporary place. So our place sold, yay, and we had to move really quickly. So we found out on the Friday, which was just over a week ago. We found out on the Friday that we had exchanged contracts on our house, so we were able then to confidently go and rent somewhere to live. We didn't want to do that previously because the sale had been dragging on for a while, and at one point it looked like it might not happen, and we didn't want to be committed to a 6-month rental on somewhere if we weren't going to be able to actually move in. We didn't want to be paying for something we didn't need to live in. So it meant that we had 1 week. So we exchanged on the Friday and we were completing the following Friday. That gave us exactly 7 days to find, secure and move into somewhere else. Now, I don't know what things are like where you live, but that is a very short and unorthodox, to use our agent's quote, turnaround time for here. We were only able to find 3 places which on paper even looked like something that would do for us. So we had quite strict criteria that our rental place had to meet. We had to have somewhere where we could park the van because my husband is still working on converting the van, and we're going to be largely living out of that van for our gap year, our family travel year. And so we needed somewhere that we can not only park it, but also that he can work on it from. So we needed either a big driveway or ample parking. So that was one criteria, and we needed a garage. And I don't know, again, about where you are, but here, definitely not every house comes with a garage. And we needed not just a tiny pokey garage, which we saw some places with, something sizable, again, as a place that K-Van can work on the van out of, but also we have a lot of things like kayaks and bikes and, you know, these sorts of things, tools that need to be stored somewhere, and couldn't fit them in a house. When we looked, there were 3 places that met those criteria. We didn't really particularly care about anything else. We were just like, we have to find something that's going to fit our things and enable us to complete this van project. The first one we went to see wasn't big enough. It looked really big in the pictures. Once we got inside, we were like, we're not going to fit our things here. And also we thought we might be able to make it work. It didn't have a garage, so it didn't even actually fit our criteria, but it had a lot of, it seemed like it had a lot of land around it, and it had something at the back that might have been some sort of outbuilding that we could use. And when we got there, everything was way smaller. The outbuilding wasn't accessible to whoever was going to rent it, so that immediately struck that one off the list. Left us with 2 options. The second option, we arrived and immediately saw that it was, again, too small of a place, too tight of a squeeze, and the actual, even though it had a garage, the road that led into it was so tiny that we wouldn't have been able to fit the van up there to get into the garage space. So that, again, struck that one off the list. So on the Friday that we exchanged, I think it was the Friday or the following Monday, everything's been a bit of a blur. We saw this place. We pulled up, but there was another viewing just before us. And we were like, oh God, please don't let them love it. This guy walked in the house and 10 seconds later walked out. And we were like, either he's just taking it or he's not interested. Please don't be interested, because this is our last shot. Otherwise we will literally have nowhere to live. And I did not want to entertain plan B. Plan B would have been moving everything from our house into a storage unit and staying in an Airbnb or with family and friends, and then moving it all again to a rental place. Moving is a lot of work, a lot of work, and I didn't want to do it twice. I was like, I'm unavailable for this. This has to work out. So we walked in here, we barely looked at any of the rooms because we were like, yep, fine. All we care about is the access and the garage, and it has a double garage, so that was a real win, and plenty of parking for, we've got a couple of vehicles plus the van. So thank God. So we didn't really think anything of it other than that. We were just like, good enough. Where can we sign? How can we secure this really quickly? So we immediately said to the agent, well, we love it, we'll take it. Then we had to go through all of the application process. The landlord lives in New Zealand and they needed his permission. And long story short, we found out on the Wednesday at noon, just literally 2 days before the Friday when we had to leave our house, that we'd secured this place. So that was a bit of a stressful time. I talk about making a mess in order to create your dream life. That felt like a mess. That felt stressful. That felt like, oh my God, what are we doing? Then we got into obviously the whole thing of moving, packing, organizing things. One of the things we decided to do was to pack everything ourselves. The reason being that we have a lot of stuff. So I'm going to show you actually. Let's walk and talk. We have a lot of stuff that we didn't want to move all the way. We didn't want to move, unpack here, and then repack it again for when we move to Ireland. So what we've done, so this is just a spare room that we have here. And as you can see, it is pretty, squeaky door, it is pretty full of stuff. What we wanted to do was to actually handle absolutely everything we own before we moved it out of our old house, for a few reasons. One, declutter, let go of things that just aren't going to serve us, that we're not going to need longer term. And two, I didn't want to move twice. I didn't want to move here, unpack absolutely everything, and then repack absolutely everything in 6 months before we go traveling and to eventually move everything to Ireland. We might be able to move things before that. That's another story for a different day. So we wanted to handle absolutely everything. And as a consequence, it was a lot of work because we didn't hire removal people who were going to pack us. But I'm glad that we did, because a lot of the stuff here, and this is only part of it, we've packed so that it can be staying packed and just go all the way to the farm, which means that it saves us so much work for the second move. The other thing that was a lot to hold during this move was that our daughter took it a little bit hard. So we sold our house that we'd lived in for 12 years. We had decorated that home to within an inch of its life to be exactly our dream home in so many ways, and it was very comfortable, very suited to us. I'll be honest, I didn't really realize how spoiled I was till we moved here. Nothing wrong with this place, it's perfectly fine. It's actually possibly slightly bigger than ours, but it doesn't feel like it because it's lots of rooms. But anyway, I didn't realize how spoiled I was on that front until I moved. I knew that my husband had done an amazing job of our house because he did like 95% of it himself. But I really appreciate him extra now that we're living somewhere that he hasn't done. So our daughter took it quite hard. She didn't want to leave the house. I think when you're that age, it's difficult to kind of really understand why things are happening. It's a big change, a big transition. And so I was expecting it to, you know, take its toll a little bit emotionally on her, and it did. And it took her a good few days to start settling in here and to accept that we'd left the house. And it was quite sad. She left the most adorable letter for the new owners, which just made me cry. It was saying like, we hope you love it here, we've loved it here, take good care of it, that kind of thing. And I was kind of expecting that. I knew it was going to be a lot of upheaval for her, and that's a difficult thing as a parent, isn't it? Because, you know, we're doing this whole thing, the year of travel, moving to the farm, in many ways for her. Yes, there's parts of it that are selfishly for us, but we want to give her this experience. We want to create this particular type of lifestyle and more freedom for her. And yet, in the creation of that, it has already started taking a bit of emotional toil on all of us, but on her. And it's hard, isn't it, when you're a parent and you think like, I think I'm doing the right thing, but I can see that my child is struggling with this. It's that kind of you know, caught between those two realities. So I knew that that was likely to be the case for her with this move. So I'm quite fortunate in that I had pulled my business back a little bit and cleared my schedule for a good few weeks on the lead up to the move and around the move, so that I could just be there for her extra and, you know, just hold that space for her. Now, real talk. What I had not anticipated was my own emotional reaction to the move, which might sound silly, because like I said, we'd lived there for 12 years. We got married when we lived there. We had our daughter at that house. We'd taken it from an absolute hovel of a place. It was a bit of an exaggeration, but it was, you know, in desperate dire need of completely redoing, and we made it beautiful and just a most comfortable and lovely home for us. So it sounds silly that I didn't expect that moving from there would be hard, but I'm the sort of person that I just kind of run at change. A lot of people I know fear change, and I love it, sometimes my detriment. And I've been so excited and so fixated on what we're doing here, wanting to start the farm. I spent all of my time, you know, watching YouTubers who have homesteads, that kind of thing. And also researching and planning for our gap year. I've spent all of that time forward focused that I didn't really think about what I was leaving behind. And it wasn't until the day that we left, we had to go back one more time to give the keys to the new owner. And I said, oh, well, I'll just go do one quick check around the rest of the rooms upstairs. We haven't left anything. And just seeing the house empty, and just having that moment of realizing this is the last time, I'm getting emotional just talking about this, this is the last time that I'm going to step foot in here, and leaving all those memories behind. Wow, only a couple of videos in, I'm already crying. But it was emotional, and I wasn't really prepared for that, and that was the thing. I should have expected it. I don't know why I didn't. I think I was just, like I said, so forward focused, but also so focused on my daughter. She wasn't there that day. She was at school, which was, I think, a good thing. And then I just, yeah, that was it. I just broke. Okay, my camera just decided to turn itself off. So it was emotional. Let's just leave it at that. And yeah, had a little cry. And it's hard, you know. And this is it. This is why I want to document this. It's not just about all the fun stuff. At the moment, it's a lot of hard stuff, a lot of emotionally challenging things, and a lot of, oh my God, a lot of admin. The amount of admin that comes with a move is immense, and we've been in here for just over a week now, week and a half. We still don't have fully functioning internet. We moved in and the heat wasn't working in the dining room or the kitchen, you know, just all of this stuff. Adulting, I'm not the biggest fan, but this is why I wanted to document it, because, you know, at some point we're going to be off traveling, being like, oh, we're in Italy this week, oh, we're in Croatia this week, and then we'll be starting our farm. And if these are the sorts of things that interest you, it's easy to watch it and see somebody who's arrived at that point and think, oh my God, yes, they're living the dream life, looks so easy, looks like it just happened like that. But there's a path to it. There is the journey to it all, and I really, really think it's important to share the realities of it. And I'm kind of interested in what is going to be required for us to create this next level dream life. So yeah, this is how it's been lately, a bit messy and quite emotional. One thing that we have done is we have celebrated. We had planned this celebration, so I bought the champagne, I showed you that, and I had it in my mind, like, when we get there, when we've made the sale's gone through, we will drink this champagne. And we thought the first night in the place, that's what I had in mind. First night in the place, we didn't finish moving everything in until 10:30 p.m. So we just had an Indian takeaway and crashed. The next night, to be perfectly honest, I just felt sad and cold because the place was cold, which is kind of a bit miserable. So we didn't have the champagne then, understandably. So we waited until last weekend, which was the kind of first proper weekend here, and we felt a bit more settled, and we popped open the champagne. And the money had hit our accounts by then as well from the sale of our house, which just felt good. And yesterday, in fact, we received the paper from the mortgage company saying we don't have a mortgage anymore, yay, which is something that we've been excited for. So we sat down, my husband and I, and drank the champagne and celebrated, because I think it is important to celebrate these things. And when we toasted each other and ourselves in this move that we made, we were talking about the fact that we were kind of proud of ourselves for being brave, you know, for doing the uncomfortable things, for making the mess, because right now, you know, we don't have any properties to our name. We used to have 2, we now have none. We're only here for 6 months. Like, everything's a little bit up in the air. We've made this mess. We know why we're doing it. We've got this strong vision, but it takes some courage, maybe stupidity, you can decide, to actually go through the discomfort required to get to that next level dream life, right? Which is what we're aiming for. So we really celebrated that, and we felt kind of proud of ourselves for doing the things that we know that you know, a lot of people think that we're crazy for, or a lot of people would like to do but don't feel able to do, and we know that we're in a position of some privilege to be able to do these things too. And so kind of recognition and gratitude for all of that, and it felt really good to kind of celebrate that and to feel like, yes, this was a good thing. Because I'm not gonna lie, for the first few days that we were here, I was thinking, what have we done? Why are we doing? Remind me again why we've done this. So it just felt, yeah, nice to celebrate and to look forward again and get excited about what's next. So what is next? Next, my husband came and he needs to really crack on with the remainder of the van conversion. So right now he is getting the roof ready, then we can put the solar panel on. At the same time, we've been purchasing the components for Wi-Fi in the van now, because I'm going to be running my business from the van for the duration of our travels, and having strong and stable internet connection is fundamental to my success. Also, we are still on the lookout for our dream farm. We've found a number of properties that we're interested in exploring, so we're going to be booking another trip over to Ireland soon to go farm shopping, which is really fun. I'll be sure to take you along with us, and until then, bye for now.